trying to pull it up. There we go. Hey family, welcome to another episode of Living Her Truth, where we have honest conversations between sisters on what it means to live your truth authentically. I am your host, LaKitia, and I am here and I am ready to have another moment of truth with you to help you build the confidence you need to walk in your greatness. So tonight's episode is sponsored by A Sister's Truth. Connect with your sister coach today to learn how to use self-awareness as a tool for embracing your purpose, overcoming fears, and to create meaningful relationships. Your sister coach will give you the hard truths that you don't want to hear, but need most to help you live the purpose-driven life that you desire. But you'll get those hard truths wrapped in love and tied with an inspirational bow. So make sure to connect with your sister coach today, but after this episode, by visiting asisterstruth.com. You guys, I am so excited for tonight's conversation. I know I say that every week. Every week I say I'm excited. But when you are walking in your purpose and living your truth and doing something that you absolutely love, the excitement is going to be there. So please believe me when I tell you that I'm excited, even though I say it every week. But I'm excited for tonight's conversation because I have this beauty right here, Tiffany Washington. I'm so excited to have a conversation with Tiffany on tonight. Tonight is special because we're going to talk about workplace bullying on tonight. This is a serious conversation that we must have. Workplace bullying is like a silent epidemic. I did research on it and came up with some statistics that shows that over 60 million Americans, and I say Americans because the stats that I researched was just focused on the U.S., but over 60 million Americans experience workplace bullying. So this is a real issue, guys, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to get real transparent about it. So if you don't mind, take a moment and share this broadcast with your family and your friends so they can join the conversation, because we want your 2 cents tonight, because your 2 cents matters. Okay, so you guys know that I start every conversation with telling you about how I met the person that I'm having a conversation with, and I'm laughing already because I know what Tiffany is going to say. I already know, because it's so funny. But well, it's funny to us. It might not be funny to you. But Tiffany and I met in person at an event, probably a little over a month ago, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. At the Houston Chronicle, there was an event there. And I was there with Kim Mason. Shout out to Kim Mason, who's the founder of Women Cultivating Greatness. I was there with her, and Tiffany came over and asked if the seat next to me was available. And I'm like, sure, girl, yeah, sit down. You should sit or whatever. And then I'm like, I know you from somewhere. Like you look real familiar. Mm-hmm. And so I started asking her about what groups that she's involved in on Facebook, and we found out that we are a part of, I think, like 1 or 2 groups that we're a part of. But I was like, no, that's not really it. So, I kept asking her. I think I kept asking you questions that night.
Yes. So she kept asking me questions via Facebook Messenger once Facebook we connected. Messenger. So she was like, no, I know you from here. Yeah, I'm going to let you tell the story now.
So I hit her up on Facebook Messenger because I think I realized that you were a part of the group Beyond the Business with Mia. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mia.
Hey, Mia.
First off, let's do a shout out to Mia, because Mia is the reason why we're having this conversation.
Absolutely.
Right now, even though I talked to Mia about Tiffany after I met Tiffany, but it was Mia who was like, you need to talk to Tiffany because she has a story about workplace bullying and it would be perfect for your show. So Mia, thank you so much for connecting us in that. For connecting us in that way. But back to the story. So I realized that we was in the same group, Beyond the Business, right here on Facebook. But I was like, no, that's not it. Because I think I asked you if you went live in the group before. Mm-hmm. And at that time you hadn't gone live. And I was like, no, that's not it. So we connected on Facebook. I followed her. We're friends on Facebook. She ended up going live on her Facebook page. I got a notification. So I joined her live and was, just checking her out and things like that. And noticed that my friend Jessica was in the comment section. No big deal.
Right.
Because, we follow the same people. Great women follow the same circle.
Right.
No big deal. But Tiffany was like, yeah, and follow me on Instagram at Transformation 7. I said, that's where I know her. That's where I know her from. And I had to hit up and be like, girl, that's where I know you from. Because Jessica, who is our mutual friend, shout out to Jessica. Hey, Jess. Shout out to Jessica. Jessica had been talking about you for probably, how long have I known Jessica? I've known Jessica for maybe about a year, but Jessica had been talking about you for a while because Jessica and I, we do clarity walks where we'll go over to Memorial Hermann Park. And, you know, sometimes we talk business, sometimes we talk life. And when we talk business, Tiffany has come up many times. And she has shared your Instagram lives with me before. So I have watched your replays. I have even like been on your lives as a Sister's Truth on Instagram. But Jessica never told me that you lived in Houston.
Really?
Yeah. She never told me.
It's so funny how circles connect. Yeah, how I ended up sitting right next to you. And you've been talking to Jessica all of this time about me. So yes, I live here in Houston.
Yeah. But you know what? That says a lot about you and your character. That people are talking about you outside of the room, in rooms that you're not even in. Now, you know, our room between me and Jessica, that room was small, but it starts small and then it progresses and snowballs into something bigger. So that's the position you want to be in when people are talking about you when you're not in the room, but in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Jessica talks highly of you. Yeah, because she's done some work with you and she talks about
Jessica's one of my coaching clients and so is Mia. So I'm excited about the work that we get to do together. Yeah. And I'm excited about how adamant they are about making sure that we're all successful within our circles.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about you and your business, since this is a great segue into it.
Okay, so the name of my business is Transformation 7, and it's called Transformation 7 because it is about the transformation that takes place with business owners, specifically female business owners. So what I do is I help career professionals and emerging entrepreneurs to amplify their brand, accelerate their goals, and achieve freedom in their respective industries. And I do that through private one-on-one coaching and live and online events. Those are the ways that I generally show up. My career started actually out of my frustration inside of education. And so I quit my job as an assistant principal because of my experiences with workplace bullying. And yes, you heard that right. I had a good job that I quit.
Let's stress that for a second. She was a principal in the education system, experiencing workplace bullying, which is crazy because, you know, and no shade to the lower positions, but that's a pretty high position in the education system for you to be experiencing workplace bullying.
Yeah, and it was from a colleague, somebody who had my exact same title, my exact same credentials, and had been in education for about the same amount of time as I had. So there were no tiers to it or anything like that. So what that fostered though was a sense of resilience and a sense of persistence that I needed to have in my life in order to launch the platform, which is Women Winning at Work is part of that platform. And that's the name of the book. The name of the book is Women Winning at Work. And it is a 21-day devotional to help people to overcome workplace difficulties. And by people, of course, I mean women. And I share a little bit of my story in that book from beginning to end, how everything transpired. And then I wrote the book that I needed when I was actually going through that situation. And thankfully, I'm able to speak to corporations now so that they can understand, not from a spiritual perspective, but just from a human perspective, what it means to recognize bullying both in other people and within us, because sometimes we don't even realize our own blind spots when it comes to workplace bullying. So that's kind of how my platform started. And then I was able to eventually move that over to places like Rolls-Royce and Humana. I did a TED Talk on it. And that landed me here.
Wow. That's amazing. It's crazy how your pain turns into purpose.
Yes.
You know, there's purpose behind your pain. And you guys have been following me for a while. And, you know, I say that all the time, that there's pain behind our purpose. We just need to acknowledge it. We need to face it. And then we need to heal from it. Like, we cannot be running away from it and trying to pretend like it's not there, because we can really honestly use it for our good, because everything works together for our good.
It does.
Yeah.
And even when it doesn't feel like it, even when you feel like your knees are about to buckle, even when you're trembling inside, even when there's calamity all around you, there is purpose in your pain. It's hard to see it while you're going through it. But on the other side of it, you start to say, oh, that's what that was about. Because I didn't write the book while I was going through it. It was after I was on the other side of it, and I had clarity about what happened and why it happened. And it made me realize that I needed to use my gifts. One, the gift of writing is something that I do very well. I was an English teacher prior to being a principal. And the gift of speaking. So that I knew that the book was going to launch my speaking platform, and it allowed me to create my own table, if you will. That's why I host live events on a regular basis, because I know that I can incorporate my knowledge and my expertise with actual verbal conversations with people and teaching people.
I love that. And, you know, Jess talks about how you give, you know, points. Like, you will walk away with a plan when listening to you, you know, live on Instagram or Facebook, whenever it is, when you're talking, you know, about from your transformation step in business. So that's true, because I've talked to her clients, and her clients have said that. Talked to 2 different clients, and they say that, you know, that you're really good with that. So how long did you experience workplace bullying before you decided to leave?
Well, I experienced it for the duration of my actual very first year as an assistant principal. And that was my title change. I'd already been out of the classroom for a while, but I'd actually moved up as far as my ranking was concerned. And so that after that first year, that's when I started to experience it. So I had been in education for 4 years. So it was during my 6th year that I actually, and I experienced it all along because I was very young moving up the ranks. So imagine a 20-something-year-old having to give out directions to 60-plus-year-old women who've been doing this for a while, you know, because I immediately, after my first year, I became the co-chair of my department. And then after that, I was the chair of my department. Then I was the chair of the English department. So every year I got more responsibility. And then they gave me additional classes. I taught theater as well. So, you know, I was writing skits for the kids at my school, and we were traveling in the community. So a lot of good things were going on in my career. But that whole time I'd experienced little bits of it. Oh, you're a little girl. You don't know nothing. You ain't lived long enough. You know, I've been called everything from a peon because I was doing my job, all the way to things that are not so nice that I probably shouldn't say on this podcast.
Oh my goodness. I 100% believe that too. Do you think self-awareness helped you to realize that you was being bullied at the time?
Oh yeah, I knew immediately that I was being bullied, specifically in the situation that I talk about in my book. I knew that immediately, and I knew why. And the reason why was because I held strongly to the belief that I should remain professional at all times. I still hold strongly to that belief.
I agree.
You know, you remain professional at all times, but some people take advantage of that. And because I'm not a confrontational person, that also worked to my demise, if you will, because I am non-confrontational. So everything from being humiliated in front of the kids by being told by my colleague that I need to be doing X, Y, and Z, pointing in my face in front of students who were mine, you know, and she was doing that intentionally and on purpose. So we went through this whole ordeal, and I don't know if you want me to get into the whole story.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but as far as the self-awareness piece is concerned, I knew that it was because of how I presented myself. And surprisingly, guys, in education, it's a dog eat dog world. They want you to be bulldogs, especially inside of urban education. And when I say they, I'm speaking in a very broad sense, but based on my personal experience, that's what was required in order for us to be successful. And because that was not my personality, it was almost like, well, you're gonna either eat or you're gonna get eaten. Wow. So, and that's really the short, condensed version of my story. But as far as me being aware of it, absolutely I was. But I also knew that because of my faith and because I wanted to walk in a righteous manner, I couldn't treat her the same way that she was treating me. Could I speak sternly about it and speak up about myself? Absolutely. And I did. Those things just didn't happen to work in that situation.
Wow. So many things just went through my head, just now, because you say that you're non-confrontational. And what went through my mind is that people know who they can mess with and who they can't mess with, and I've been in a situation where I've gotten I didn't handle the situation right. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, on tonight. I have, a troublesome direct report. She's my boss. She's his cousin. Right. And so because, family, she thinks she can walk over me. Again, another situation with younger, managing an older person who feels as though that you have more experience, life and work experience than you, and I had been telling her to work on a project that she hadn't worked on. I called her and asked her for the project. She didn't have the project ready. And so she gets mad at me, comes down to my office. You hear her coming down the hall, cursing me out, and came to my office. And at the time they was building my office, so I didn't have the door up just yet. And so I was like, let's take it into this office right here. And I completely exploded, because the one thing you're not gonna do is disrespect me, because first and foremost, I'm a grown woman. Right. I didn't come to you like that. I asked you for a project and you didn't have it. And so now you're going to come and curse me out. I lost it. And so, that was a lesson learned for me, because you know what she did? She walked straight up to HR.
That is laughable.
And reported
gosh.
And reported me.
Because she knew she was wrong. She wanted to get to them before you got to them.
And went straight to HR and reported me. And you know what? I was 100% completely honest with them. I went up, they called me up to HR. I went up there. I was just like, you know what? Yes, I snapped off on her. Yes, I cursed her out. This is what happened. You know what? I 100% apologize. But you know what? That would never happen again, because she completely took me outside of my zone. And no one should ever take you outside of your zone like that. But she just caught me off. She just caught me off guard. And for you to be like cursing me out and calling me all out of my name and telling me what you gonna do, ma'am, let's step into this. Let's step into this office real quick. Come on over here for a second.
Let me talk to you real quick.
I'm laughing about it now because I can, but that was a serious situation. That's not how you want to handle a situation, and going forward, I haven't had that problem with her again, because I'm very nice. I'm very, low key and laid back, but you're not going to disrespect me. And people know that. And so they'll try you.
And she definitely tried me, because after she poked at me the first time, the thing about it is we started off as friends. We started off, when I say friends, meaning like cordial to each other. As far as I hired her. Meaning that I put in the recommendation for her to be a part of the team because of her skills. So why can't we work together? I don't have anything. If I did not want you here, I wouldn't have voted for you to be here. And at the time, for the principal that I was working with, it would have been a no-brainer to say, okay, we'll pass on her. But because we said yes inside of that room, so I'm disappointed by it, but I also say thank you, because it has transitioned me into doors that I could have never imagined.
At the time, it's funny that you say that. At the time, do you think that you was possibly, because at this point you was in the education system for like 6 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you was getting comfortable at the time? And the reason why I'm asking that question is because sometimes God will put an obstacle in your way
Mm-hmm.
to make you uncomfortable and to make you move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I agree with you on that. It's all a part of the journey. So he definitely did his job. God was on point with getting me to move. Yeah. And that wasn't me moving out of education at that point. I asked for a transfer.
Okay.
And so actually when I asked for my transfer, my boss's boss, if you will, like the superintendent, the mini superintendent over a certain set of schools, she said, well, you only have two options. You can either stay here and tough it out, or you can resign. Those were my two options. Not, we're going to handle this over here, because not only was it me, LaKitia, there were 3 other staff members who had quit because of this lady at the time. And there were people who were out every other day because they were so stressed out behind her leadership.
Are you serious?
Oh, I forgot to mention that, right? So it wasn't just me. It was a multitude of people who said, you know what, I'm not even going to stay here anymore because I can't take the stress. I can't take coming to school every day and being verbally battered and abused. So I wasn't her only target. I was just one of many. However, like I told you, they value that bulldog mentality. Do whatever it takes to get it done, because
and that's why.
Yeah.
She was favored.
And that's why she was favored. I mean, and you know, I'm not upset at anyone anymore.
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to get over that. There are bruises that ran really deep for a while, but I used that to flip my situation. But at that point in time, I knew I couldn't afford to walk away from my job. You know, I had a house, I had a car. Well, I mean, I still have those things, but you know, all of those things were very essential to my livelihood.
Yeah.
So I couldn't afford to walk away. So I stayed there for another 3 months. And then eventually that mini superintendent, that's just the way I'll you know, summarize who that person was. She came back and said, well, hey, I hadn't forgotten about you. I have another position that's coming up and I want to go ahead and move you. And I'm like, oh, great. Because at that point I had lost 20 pounds. My hair was, you know, falling out. I mean, just stress. Right. So I could use that 20 pounds though. Like, I wish I could have kept that.
I wasn't mad at the 20 pounds though.
I wasn't all that mad. But at that point, you know, that's how stressed and fatigued I was. So I said, well, that's great. I'm glad that you found a placement for me, because she's the only one who can move people around like that. And so I said, well, when do I start? She was like, tomorrow. I was like, wow. Okay. So where do I go? Like, what's my new assignment? And my new assignment ended up being 32 miles away from my old assignment. So I was driving an hour and 15 and to an hour and a half away from my original location every single day.
Wow. For 3 months until you left?
For when I left the very next day, which meant that I had to immediately go back to my office and start packing up all of my stuff into my car. And how humiliating is it to have to pack your stuff up knowing that your kids, I taught middle school, I was a principal for middle school, so they're out practicing football or whatever it is that they're doing, and I'm packing up my car. I don't get to tell them goodbye properly. I don't get to really tell them why I'm putting all of this stuff in my car. They're just like, Miss Washington, what you doing? You know? And so that was a difficult transition. But what I found out, it was they were just swapping me and the other young lady because she was having issues at her school. So it was only a matter of time, right, before I started having some issues at that school.
And she's gonna start having issues at your school.
Exactly.
Because you didn't solve the problem.
You didn't solve the problem, right? And so that's one of the things we have to remember when we're dealing with workplace bullying in general, that you have to pull it out at the root. You can't just move people around and say, oh, I'm gonna move you from this corner over here to that corner over there, and maybe y'all won't have to see each other during the day. That's not solving the problem. Because even with the young lady at that that particular campus, I still saw her at district trainings.
Oh,
I still saw her out of the blue.
Still had access to her. Yeah. Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah.
What are some of the signs of bullying, so we can know if we're being bullied and if we are bullying someone else?
Okay. So some of the signs of bullying include if you feel threatened anytime that you come to work. If you wake up in the morning and you stare at the ceiling for 30 minutes and you start to contemplate if you should even go into work because of a person, you're probably being bullied. Some of the other indicators of bullying are some of the things that I said about myself. If you started to notice significant weight loss, hair falling out as a result of stress from people inside of your workplace, then you're probably being bullied. And some of the things, what was your second question about?
If we're bullying
somebody else. So like,
how can we
know? So I can give you a great example.
Okay. Please do.
So if we are inside of a training, if you will, and I have a seat open next to me, but I take my purse and my phone and everything and I put that all in that seat because I don't want somebody to sit next to me, and then I take up space with my body. That's an indicator of bullying.
Does somebody really do that?
I mean, people do that all the time.
Oh.
It's an indicator because you're saying, I don't want anybody close to me. I don't want anybody next to me, especially not Sylvia. Because if Sylvia coming here, she sure can't sit next to me. That's just a singular example. But bullying in us also takes place if you notice that many people are telling you that you speak to them harshly, if you notice that many people don't come your way or they tiptoe around you, like if your door is open and they look and they see you haven't had your third cup of coffee yet, so they're not gonna speak to you, then you're probably a bully. That's a problem. So those are just a few of the indicators, and I'm keeping it on the lighter side. But one of the facts of the matter is that the target, meaning the person who is being bullied, actually ends up losing their job at a much higher rate than the person who actually does the bullying.
Isn't that something?
It's something, because what happens is when I say lose their job, they either do something like me, ask for a transfer. Sometimes they quit. Sometimes they get so sick that they cannot return to work. So they have to go on a mental health leave. Those are all forms of losing your job. Because you're being put at a disadvantage because of what someone else is doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't even think of it that way, but that's true. That's a form of losing your job. Once we talked about, doing this conversation and talking about workplace bullying, I thought about my previous careers to see if I have been bullied, because I feel like bullying, we only attribute that to children, and we don't necessarily think about it from an adult's perspective, right? I feel like bullying in the workplace, in a situation like the workplace, can really like go over our heads. Absolutely. Because we adults, so we don't expect for someone to bully us as an adult. And so I was thinking about it, and I remember my first real paralegal job outside of paralegal school, right outside paralegal school. I worked for a law firm, and the owner of the law firm, I was just like, what, he was a bully, because he would pay us, our pay scale was every 2 weeks, the 15th and the last day of the month, but instead of giving us our paychecks on the 15th, he will hold it for a week. You had people every month like changing their pay dates so their bills would be paid on time. Wow. Because he would sit there like the checks or whatever it is that he needed to sign for the direct deposit to go through, it would sit on his desk for days, and we would walk past his desk and we would see the stack of checks right there.
Wow.
He was a freaking bully. And then not only that, but I didn't really know no better at the time. He mandated 50 hours a week, not 40, 50, and then did not pay overtime. Did not pay overtime. So you got me working a minimum of 50 hours a week. You paying me a week late every pay period. You paying me a week late because for whatever reason, You know, so I ended up going to the EEOC and filing a complaint, you know, anonymously. But I think maybe somebody around the office, you know, maybe had told him, because I did mention it that I was going to like file a complaint, and I ended up losing my job, which was
retaliation.
It was retaliation. But you know, he came into he did give me unemployment, but it's so funny because he called me into the conference room, and this is how he starts it off. LaKitia, everybody loves you here and you work well with everybody, but this is not a great fit for you.
Wow. Wait, I'm confused.
Like, I was 100% confused. And so I ended up losing my job. But you know what? It was a blessing in disguise, because I probably would have got stuck there, because, you know, I'm still friends with some of the people that worked there at the time that I worked there. And, you know, they're still there.
Really?
These people are still working for him. And I have even tried to get the other paralegals out of there. Like, if I went somewhere, you know, and got another job, like, girl, there's openings.
Right.
Give me your resume. I'll get you in. And, you know, there was never any follow through with that. So some of them still work with him right now to this day.
But you know what? Some of us get so caught up in our own mess, if you will, that it starts to become normalized for us. Like, it's okay for people to treat us poorly.
Yeah.
And because that's all we know, and because we're comfortable, and because we are getting our check, and because it's a hassle to try to find a new job, then I'll just stay here. And you continue to get that torture, and you continue to get that abuse. And unfortunately, I know people from my bully who still work with her. And it's just like, okay, but why? You know, she's only going to be your friend for so long. Because I saw the cycle. Yeah. It's like she started out with friends and they slowly start to just drop off because of her own poor behavior. Yeah. And so it's the same thing with the situation that you described. Sometimes we just, you know, we don't smell our own stuff. Wow. Unfortunately.
I need to coach her, because the bully, because there's something going on with her. If you're bullying other people, what's going on with you? What trauma, what hurt have you not healed from that is totally controlling your life to make you feel as though that you have to be super aggressive with the people around you to be respected? Yeah. Like, what happened in her life?
Yeah, and I know that she's had some struggles. Didn't find this out, of course, until I was on the other side of it. Yeah. And because of those struggles, I don't know, I think maybe she may have been protected in some ways because of some of the personal issues that she dealt with. But I'm like, but how does that give her a right to torture us? Like, what about me? What about my mental health?
It doesn't. It's a dog world in education. You didn't matter, girl.
I did not matter.
You did not matter.
The other thing, that's like a sign too. If people just use you, if they can use you as collateral, or if they treat you as though you don't matter, then you probably don't to them. So what do you need to do in order to transition yourself into a place where your worth is valued?
And that's where living your truth comes in at, and that's where self-awareness comes in at as well, because not everybody's going to like you, not everybody's going to love you. And if that's the case, then that, like, you have to be okay with yourself. You need to know your self-worth, love yourself unconditionally. So if you meet somebody and they look at you and value you as less, then it's okay, because you love yourself and you know what you're worth and you know what you're capable of and you know what it is that you deserve. That's why I'm so keen on self-awareness and teaching women, and I'm talking to you men too, how to use it, you know, as a tool to live a purpose-driven life, because I feel like we look at you know, try to go to all these outside forces when really what we need to do is just look at ourselves, because we have everything we need to succeed. Everything we need to succeed. And there's something that is, you know, blocking us from that clarity, you know, life experiences, relationships, you know, workplace bullying, things, you know, things like this. You know, it blocks us and puts up this shield where we really can't see what it is that we are actually good at, you know, and it takes a sister coach to help you to understand that and bring that forward.
Absolutely.
How were you able to like build your confidence after going to experience of workplace bullying?
I think one of the things that I always knew is that I was good at what I did. And not only was I good, I was exceptional. And the reason why I say
I wasn't just good, I'm exceptional. I know that's right. You better say that, girl.
And the reason why I knew I was exceptional is because there had been so much invested in me from the district perspective, which is why I know that in the district perspective, some things kind of fell through the cracks, because my master's degree education was paid for partially by the district and partially by University of Texas. I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin.
Right. I think I did see a post of you saying that your master's was paid for.
Yeah. So because of that, I knew that there was an investment in me because of the skill and the talent and the abilities that I had. So I never lost focus of that. But I also think that was another reason why I was bullied. Because when people see that there's something in you that they don't necessarily possess, but they know that they might need in order to get to their next level, then sometimes they'll start to attack that. You know, and when you have to watch out for that piece as well, but you have to protect your excellence. You want to place it on display so that people can know what you're able to do, but you also want to protect it, because some people want to expose it and they want to take advantage of it and tear you down. But the reason why I was able to regain my confidence is because I knew that my worth was not rooted in the pain that I was experiencing. You know,
say that again.
So I knew that because of who I was created to be, that there was a divine purpose for me. And because I was clear on what my prayers were during that time, I was able to say, okay, this is only for a designated amount of time. Were there tears? Absolutely. Were there times where I just wanted to say, you know what, I'm going to quit. I'm just going to go work as a cashier somewhere and be done with it. And of course, my mom was like, no, we're not going to do that. You have a whole degree that you need to utilize, and you've worked too hard to get here. But what I realized is what confidence means to me. Confidence means that you don't always have to put on an air of arrogance. It just means that you know exactly who you are and you know what you're able to deliver. And that inward confidence can be exposed. So even though it looked like I was meek and mild, I was actually confident in those situations because of my internal self-worth and what I knew I was able to deliver, because I didn't stop delivering. Now, one thing about bullying is that it does create it does decrease your ability to produce at high levels. So yeah, my productivity was affected, but at the same time, the work that I did put out was good work. You know, so because I know that about myself, confidence was not something that was hard to rebound on. And when I went to my new school, I was embraced with loving arms, and I took over the whole professional development piece of the school, and that is where things just really started to grow big for me. So it elevated me, actually. So that confidence piece, it just had more of an opportunity to meld, if you will, while I was in that particular situation, and it birthed something that was much greater than I would have imagined.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, because that's amazing. I love that. Self-awareness equals confidence helped you to stay confident in the situation and not lose focus of who you are.
Yeah.
I love that, because you remember what your prayers were. How many of us lose focus on what it is that we're praying for? We pray for it the night before, then the next day we have an issue and we totally forget what we didn't pray and ask God for.
Yeah. And that's why we have to keep our prayers before us. One of the things that I do is I write all of my prayers. My prayers are in the form of goals a lot of the times, but I always claim what it is that I want. And there are large sticky notes. When I say large sticky notes, it looks like a piece of butcher paper, but it has the adhesive on the back.
So you the real life Mary Jane?
Oh yeah. So I post that big piece of paper on the wall, and I write my goals on them. And I go and I touch my goals every day. I pray over my goals every day, and I put them back before God's throne and say, you know what, this is what I'm asking for, and I'm going to be steadfast in it. Because just because you pray for it once doesn't mean that it's going to happen immediately.
Absolutely.
You have to put the action in it as well. It's like, Lord, bless my actions. Yes. so that they can manifest this. You know, the word manifest is such a big word right now, but really manifesting, in my opinion, is taking action, doing something to make it happen. You know? So yeah, it's good to just be and say and call, but you have to physically work your hands at what it is that you're wanting to come to life. So,
yeah, work your hands, work your mouth.
Yeah.
Your feet, all that.
All
Faith without works is dead, you guys. Thank you so much for being so open and transparent tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I hope this helps someone, that it bless someone, and that it helps somebody to keep going when they feel like stopping, because this is not the end. This is not your final destination. It's not the end of the road. And you can also choose to veer to the right or veer to the left, based on what you know you need to do in order to get back on track. Because that happens in life. That's a part of life. It's not going to go the way we expect it.
It's not. And you guys, you don't have to, take that journey she just described alone. I am here as your sister coach. I will walk that journey with you, because sometimes we need that support system, because not everybody have that support system in their immediate circle. And sometimes having that support outside the immediate circle is beneficial. Right? Because you get that unconditional, non-judgmental support that you need. So definitely connect with me if you need some help on your journey. Before we end and tell people where they can connect with you, I want to see if I can see the comment. If you need some help on your journey. Before we end and tell people where they can connect with you. How do you turn that down? See if I can see the comments. Help on your journey. Before we end, and tell people where they can connect with you. There we go. Okay, let's go over the comments. Sharita says, this episode of Living Her Truth is pulling back the veil on workplace bullying. Thank you for sharing your truths. Thank you, Sharita. Thank you so much for, for your support. You're one of the people that support me every week, that helps me to come back every week. Because you guys, behind the scenes, there was a struggle for me, not for Tiffany, but there was a struggle for me to get this conversation together tonight. So thank you so much. Thank you, Tiffany Washington, for helping women to win at work and for sharing your story. That's from Sharita. And then Sharita helped us by putting down the signs of bullying. Thank you so much, Sharita. You've been so helpful tonight. And Ricky chimed in today. Hey, girl. Hey, thank you so much for joining me on tonight. I appreciate you. You're so welcome. She says, thank you, beautiful ladies. You are so welcome. Latrenda, thank you so much for watching. I saw Jess pop in today. Hey, girl. Hey, Jess, we gave you a shout out earlier tonight. Hey, Cindy, thank you so much for joining and watching on tonight. I appreciate you. You guys, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. We'll definitely loop back around, and answer, your comments or your questions. If you are catching this on the replay, please leave them as well. Share this video with your family and friends, because Tiffany drops so many gems, when it comes to workplace bullying, how you can, recognize it, the signs of if you are being a bully, how you can come up out of it and overcome it and heal from it and still move on and not lose yourself in the midst of that trauma, because that's a form of trauma.
Oh no, definitely a form of trauma.
That's a form of trauma, because you guys know, and you may know too, I don't know if you know my story, but I suffered from sexual abuse. I was sexually abused by my stepfather for 8 years. I know that trauma is not everybody's story, but workplace bullying, that's trauma.
Right.
That you need to acknowledge and heal from. So if you're just not catching this broadcast now, please catch the replay. Go and watch the replay so you can get the information that Tiffany dropped on tonight. Tell us how we can connect with you.
So one of the great things about how you can connect with me is that I'm having a brunch this weekend. So for everybody who is in Houston, I want you to check out the Women Winning at Work Power Brunch.
Women
Winning at Work.
Wait a minute. Let me tell you why we started this. We was on one of her lives. I say we because my husband's gonna come into this story. But I was on one of her lives, and she said her website, because it's Winning Women at Work.
Women winning at work. .net.
And so she was saying it. She kept saying it over and over again. And I just started dancing with it. And then my husband just started walking up, and he was like, and we was in back winning women. Okay, yeah. It was funny to us. It was funny to us. I'm sorry.
I love it. I love it. But the great thing about this is that there are going to be some speakers there that are multi-million-dollar earners that are going to teach us how to align our businesses so that we can start making money in our businesses every day, so that we can start build and grow. Because one of the things that we do know is that minority female owned businesses take up 46% of the entrepreneurial space. However, only growing by 1% is to our detriment, right? Wow. And so this particular event that I'm hosting this weekend, June 7th and June 8th, it is trying to eradicate that statistic. So Frost Bank has underwritten and decided to show their support for this particular event. We're in our 3rd year, and it's going to be in the city center.
Let's hand for Frost Bank coming on.
Yes. Yes, Frost Bank. We love you.
Yes.
So one of the great things that I'll tell you all of the perks. I told you about some of the speakers, but all of the perks include a beauty bar that's going to be hosted by Kim Roxy of Lamique Beauty. And she is an African-American female business owner, and her products are vegan friendly. So we'll have a beauty bar there, and she'll be doing her Hollywood brows. And then after you get your brows done, you can come and get your free professional headshot, because we'll be hosting professional headshots on site. We'll also have vendor shopping from various vendors. And then, of course, I'll be coming before you, Courtney L. Sanders, who's formerly known as the Think and Grow Chick. She'll be talking to us about mastering our money. Nikki Woods will be talking to us about mastering our messaging and our marketing and our media.
Latasha, is she from the Tom Joyner Morning Show?
Yes, okay. She is the former senior producer of the Tom Joyner Morning Show. She will be in the building on Saturday morning. So the event is from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. The VIP night is from 6 to 10 p.m. And ticket sales in tonight, guys. Ticket sales in tonight at 11:59 p.m. So go to womenwinningatwork.net to get all of the details. You'll see the beautiful women on there from the power shoot. We have a power shoot that we host in support of the actual brunch. And I hope to see you all there, because one of the things that's going to happen are connections like these. You know, people who you can say, man, I met somebody that fits really well into what it is that I see in my future as far as the people that I need to be around, right? Because that's one of my struggles as a business owner. Sometimes we tend to work in a vacuum and we don't really get to see other people who are doing things similar to what we are. So this will be a whole community of that type of person. And the reason why it's urgent for you to go ahead and get your ticket is because after I go on the Isaiah Factor tonight, I'll be on Fox 26 tonight.
26, so tune in again on Fox 26.
Fox 26 tonight if you're in Houston at 10:30 p.m. on Fox 26, the Isaiah Carey Show. We'll be there. I'll be talking about the brunch there as well. And we plan to sell the rest of these tickets. But it's not really about selling the tickets. It's about transforming the lives that are going to be in the room, right? And so the reason why we need people in seats is so that you can get the transformation that you've been seeking. We're in month 6. We are in month 6. How many goals have you accomplished? How many things did you say you were going to do, but you keep putting them off? Come to the brunch and get the plan that you need in order to propel yourself forward through the last half of the year.
I love that. And don't worry, I have all the information in the description box as well. I think I have an Eventbrite link in there as well. I'll make sure I have the website in there, because I looked it up on Eventbrite and I put that in there. But where can they find you on social media as well?
On social media, you can find me on Facebook at T7 by Tiffany. So / T7 by Tiffany. That's my business page. And on Instagram, you can find me at Transformation7. And I also have a YouTube channel that has some of my old school videos on it about the workplace, how to win in the workplace. So if you're still inside of your 9-to-5, but you also operate a business, or you're just in a 9-to-5 and you're trying to transition yourself up the corporate ladder, I have a host of videos that are there that can help you with your everyday professional development. So Transformation 7 by Tiffany A. Washington on YouTube.
Okay, I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. I'll make sure to update the description to add that in there too, because that's definitely some information we need to watch and listen to. And follow her on YouTube. Follow her all across social media, and watch her live videos, because I like watching your videos because you enumerate things and you line it out, because I'm like that too. You know, my book 31 Days of Truth, Manifest Your Passion, Power, Perseverance, like I give you step by step on how to do what it is I'm talking about in the book, because I feel like sometimes people talk over your head, you know, put all the little fluff up in there and all that, and people totally miss the point. It's like, okay, where the action steps at? Where those at? And I know that you do that because I watch your live videos, and plus I'm friends with 2 of her clients who say the exact same thing, which actually turned me in on to Tiffany. But you got to catch the beginning of the show, so you can listen to how we actually met. So let me make sure there are no more comments that has come up. Nope, I think we addressed everybody. Tiffany, thank you so much for saying yes to having this conversation with me tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a joy. And thank you for inviting me to be on the show.
You're welcome.
And I look forward to continued connections with us.
Yeah.
And I look forward to what the next 6 months is going to look like for us.
Because I'm excited. You guys don't know, behind the scenes, she told me some good stuff, and I almost started teared up, but she's looking at me like, why you crying? Because when you're around sisters who are winning, you know, and they're being blessed, that's an overflow. So those are the people you want to be next to. That's a point I wanted to make when you talked about earlier how the lady saw that you had what it is that she needed to move and she attacked you. Like, don't attack. Be friends.
Exactly.
You know, because the blessings are overflowing, you know, and when they overflow, guess what? They're going to fall on you. So you want to be around that circle of women who are doing their thing and great things are happening, because guess what? It's contagious.
Yes. It is contagious.
It's contagious.
That's the only thing I want to catch too, as far as contagious.
Girl, yes. Let's be clear.
Yes, let's be clear. I want to catch that success that you got, sister.
The blessings.
I want to catch the blessings.
Let's be clear. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yes.
You guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate you. All the love and support, I appreciate it. It's because of you that I show up every week. Please don't forget, share this broadcast with your family and friends. Share it everywhere across social media, and get your tickets to the brunch, because sale ends at 11:59 p.m. And just in case you weren't, no, I'm not going to be there because I am traveling this weekend. Otherwise, I would be there to support. But you get your tickets so you can tell me get your tickets so I can follow you on Instagram and just, you know, be a part of the experience vicariously. So definitely get your tickets tonight. And yeah, guys, thank you so much. And we will see you next time. Bye.